Hello everyone, I hope everyone is doing well and making good use of this time. In this particular video, I'll discuss the use of coupling constant in NMR structure prediction. A lot of questions have come in NetGate, NTIFR and other exams also where coupling constant values are given to determine the structure. Now what is a coupling constant? Now the splitting of any NMR signal occurs because of its interaction between a NMR and the neighboring atom of a different type. So that means because of the interaction there is a coupling occurring with the neighboring proton, because of which the splitting is occurring. So coupling constant actually gives you the separation between the peaks of a multiplet. Say for example you have a doublet and the separation between the two peaks in hertz. So the separation in hertz is the coupling constant. Mostly we get the separation in terms of ppm. You just have to multiply it with the operating frequency of the instrument and you will get the value in hertz. So the splitting is occurring because of the interaction with the neighboring atom, neighboring proton, and if I convert that in hertz, I will get the coupling constant. That means the value of the coupling constant will give me the information of the neighboring proton. Let's take an example. So before that, what is the symbol of coupling constant? Coupling constant is represented by NJXY, where N is the number of bonds between interacting protons. What is X? X is the proton responsible for the signal and Y is the proton responsible for splitting. So suppose I am saying this doublet is for HA and the splitting is occurred because of its interaction with another proton HB. So HA is the X, HB is the Y. So that means this JXY is the interaction between these two protons. And how is it useful in determining NMR structure? Say for example, you have a molecule ClCH2CH3. Let's say these are HA, these are all HB. So these two will have what? These two will have a quartet and they will do splitting because of the B protons which are present on the neighboring carbon. So they will have a splitting of 3JAB. Why 3? Because there are total 3 bonds between the two interacting protons. Now what will these HBs will have signal? They will have a triplet and they will have 3JBA coupling constant. Now the coupling constant 3JAB is always equals to coupling constant 3JBA. And why is that so? So this is interacting only with this proton and this proton's interaction with this proton should be always same. It should not happen that the way this is interacting with this is interacting in a different way. The interaction remains constant. It goes both ways similarly. Okay. Now it might so happen that this carbon has another different proton HC. So this HB proton now undergoes interaction with two different type of protons and because of that this HB should have two different coupling constant. So say suppose it will have a triplet because of this and say this is double bond O. So this should have a doublet because of this splitting which will be 3JBC. We'll see some questions where for one proton, two coupling constants are given. That means it is doing interaction with two different type of protons. Okay. So this is the basic idea of coupling constant. Now, while predicting the structure, you need to memorize or you need to remember some values of coupling constant so that you can say that these two protons are interacting and they belong to such and such fragment. Because of which I have written down some of the commonly used you can say coupling constant values, starting with the minimum number of bonds which you require for two protons interacting, which is 2J. So that is 2 bonds, which is possible for geminal coupling. So for geminal coupling between two protons on sp3 carbon, the coupling constant goes in the range of 10 to 12 hertz. All of these are in units of hertz. Now, if it is an sp2 carbon, so the interaction between two chemically different protons will be in the range of 4 to 10. Now let's move on to vicinal coupling. That means the protons attached to two neighboring different carbon atoms. Let's start with an sp2, that is carbon double bond carbon. For cis coupling, it is in the range of 6 to 15. For trans coupling, it is in the range of 11 to 18. Now all of these data have been taken from Barrow spectroscopy. Okay. Now it is also possible that the two carbon atoms are bonded through single bonds. So for sp3 carbon, for sp2 carbon, and for sp2 carbon, but all of them bonded to each other through a single bond. That means there is free rotation possible across this bond. The coupling constant value ranges in 6 to 8 hertz. Now there are molecules, there are systems where the rotation is not free, it is restricted. For that we have Karplus equation, but that is I am not discussing in this particular video. Now in the exam, the questions have come mostly from this vicinal coupling, cis and trans, and not this, and long range coupling. A lot of questions come from the long range coupling. Now long range coupling means when the number of bonds between the two interacting protons goes beyond 3. Let's say an aromatic system. So this is the proton whose coupling I want to see with ortho, meta and para protons. Now ortho proton, the coupling with ortho proton is in the range of 7 to 8. With meta proton it is in the range of 1.5 to 3.0, and with para it is a range of 0 to 0.5, which is what we expect. The larger the bond, larger the distance between the interacting protons, the lesser will be the interaction between them. Okay. Now mostly ortho and meta values are used in the questions, but you should also remember the para values. Okay, so one thing I forgot to mention in the previous video, what books you can follow in order to improve your NMR structure prediction. So the first book that I would suggest is to go with Pavia spectroscopy book. It has given a detailed explanation of how you should approach a question or how you should approach structure prediction given the NMR data. Another book that you can look into is Barrow. And for organic spectroscopy, again, Claydon is always there. You can always look up to it. Okay, now we'll look at the question which have come previously in NET and GATE. So the very first question we have is from December 2019. It had given the IR data of 1690 and 110. Now, I had told in the previous video that the IR data of C double bond O is in the range of 1715, and it may fluctuate plus minus in both the range depending on the strength of the CO bond. Now in this case, it is decreasing. That means the strength of the CO bond is decreasing. That means some kind of electron withdrawing group is attached to the CO bond. Okay. Then another value is given of 110. Now in this case, 110 IR value is mostly for groups like COH or COC, and we'll see which of the possibilities is possible here. Okay, now let us look at the NMR data. Now for the proton NMR, you have been given 2.8 singlet 3 hydrogen, 3.8 singlet 3 hydrogen. Fine, but the coupling constant comes in this case. So there is a coupling at 6.9 doublet 8 Hz coupling constant 2 hydrogen, 3.8 doublet 8 Hz 2 hydrogen. Now I had shown a few minutes back that coupling constant for ortho hydrogens occurs in the range of 7 to 8. So that means we can expect that these two protons and these two protons couple in the ortho fashion. That means my system should have this kind of a fragment H, H, H and H, which AA and BB. So these two protons couple at ortho positions with these two protons, and similarly these two protons couple at ortho position and these two protons. Okay, fine. So this fragment has to be there, and if this fragment is there, then this is not one of my structures. Okay, now there is a singlet at 2.8 and a singlet at 3.8. So that means you expect that one of the CH3 groups is attached to less electronegative group and one of the CH3 group is attached to higher electronegative group. Now in this case, if you look at these three structures, those electronegative attachments can be either oxygen or sp2 carbon. Okay. Now it is possible in this case that both the CH3 groups are attached to sp2 carbons. So this kind of a value is not possible for this. Now it is possible in both of these cases that one group CH3 is attached to oxygen and one CH3 is attached to sp2 carbon. In this case also the same. Now how will you distinguish between the two? This is where this IR data comes. As I told you, this IR data is for fragment like COC. That means carbon, oxygen, carbon group has to be present here. Okay. Okay. Let us see if we can use the carbon 13 NMR data here. So in the previous video, I had told you that 26 and 56, these are the data for sp3 carbons. For sp2 carbons, the data lies in the range of 114 to 100 to 150. So these three data are for sp2 carbons. For carbonyl, it is in the range of 150 to 200. Now we have two such values here. Okay. So we would expect that due to conjugation, there is a partial double bond character here, and we will have two C double bonded O kind of groups. Okay. One more thing, for groups like this, that means ester groups, any proton at proton attached to a carbon which is attached to the oxygen end of an ester group has its value in the range of 4 to 5. The NMR data ranges in the range of 4 to 5. But in this case, if this has to be the structure, this NMR value has to be higher than 4. But the value is given in the range of value is given as 3.8. So that means this possibility is not there. So this is not my correct structure. My correct structure has to be this. Okay. So these kind of values that it has to be in the range of 4.5. This will come when you practice more and more questions. When you come across more and more NMR data. With practice, you can get it. Now let us look at another question which came in June 2019. Now the IR data that is given is 1685. Again, it is the IR data of a carbonyl group. Then there is mass spectroscopic data, which we'll see how we can use it here. Let us look at the NMR data. Now, whenever you are looking at the NMR data and you see that coupling constant is given, you would always want to mark out the NMR data for those protons which are coupling with each other, which are having same coupling constant. As you can see in this case, 8 Hz, 8 Hz and 7 Hz, 7 Hz, 7 Hz. Okay. So 8 Hz and 8 Hz. We are seeing that for orthocoupling in aromatic systems, the value of coupling constant is in the range of 7 to 8 Hz. So we would expect that these two systems to be orthocoupling. Why I am not saying that these can also be orthocoupling because they are also 7? That is because in aromatic systems, the protons can only, orthocoupling protons can only have doublets. They cannot have triplets or quartets. So that means only these two signals can correspond to orthocoupling. Now, if there are two different type of protons doing orthocoupling, this kind of structure is not possible. I am only remaining with these three structures. So these two values are gone. Now I have to look at 3.65, 3.18 and 2.25. Now, if you remember, I had told you that for carbon to carbon free rotation, protons attached to sp3 carbon having free rotation is in the range of 6 to 8, and all of these are 7 Hz. So there is a high possibility that the protons are interacting with each other, all of these three groups. Now if you see, there is a triplet at 3.65 of 2 hydrogens. So let's say I have CH2 and the neighboring group should also have CH2, because of which it will be triplet. Now there is a there is a triplet of 3.18 of 2 hydrogens. Now that means there has to be another CH2 group, and this is 2.25. This is quintet, and quintet means there are 5 peaks, and there are 5 peaks means there are 4 different type of protons. So you would get for this group there are 2 hydrogens here, 2 hydrogens here, because of which it is showing a quintet. There are 5 peaks because of this, because of the 2ni plus 1 rule. So that means you expect this kind of a fragment here. Now this is interacting with this, because of which it has 7 hertz. This is interacting with this, because of which it has 7 hertz, and this is interacting with this, because of which it has 7 hertz. Okay. Now, which of the 3 structures is it possible? Fine. So if you look at the values of the NMR which is given here, one of the values is 2.25. So that means that is not attached to a very highly electronegative group. That has to be an intermediate electronegative group. In most of the cases, we can say it is actually this group which is having the 2.25, or in this case, it is this one. There is one at 3.18, there is one at 3.65. So these are the 2 groups which are attached to 2 highly electronegative groups. Okay, now it cannot be this structure. The reason being, this carbon is attached to an sp2 carbon which is not a very highly electronegative group. So in that case, the value should be in the range of 2 to 3, as I told in the previous video that it should be in the range of 2 to 3. So this structure is discarded, because if this is having the value of 3.65, we are still living with 3.18. So this structure is discarded. Now I am remaining with these 2 structures. Now compared to chlorine, bromine is not a very highly electronegative group. So this protons at this carbon cannot have a value of 3.18. Even if you consider that this is having a value of 3.18, the other one should have 3.65 because of being attached to a highly electronegative group, but that is not possible because bromine is a very less electronegative group. So I can say the structure is this, but there is another way you can confirm this answer using the m by z values. Now whenever the m by z values are given like this, m plus 2, and the ratio is given 1:1, it indicates the presence of bromine because of the 2 isotopes. Now of isotopes 79 and 81, if I'm not wrong, please verify it. I think it's bromine 79 and 81. Now what happens in mass spectroscopy is that fragments break down from a larger molecule in steps, and you get the m by z value. Z is a charge, and most of the time the charge is +1. So the molecule is charged and fragments are breaking down, and by the mass you can figure out what all groups are present in the fragment whose mass is being measured. So if you consider the case of 200, 198 and 183, 185, 183, that means, and both of these m by z values correspond to bromine. So that means both of these fragments will have bromine with them. Now if you calculate the value, if you calculate the mass of this, say this is I think this is 80 and 82, I'm not sure yet. Okay, so let's take the masses here. So if we have 80, this group is 76, and you would have here 28, you have 14, 15 and 14, so you have 43 and we have 35. Now most of the time the fragmentation that is happening is here, giving you a C triple bond O plus kind of a system. Now in this case you see the bromine remains intact to the phenyl ring. Now if that is happening, you calculate the mass of this, you will find it in, what is it, it is 185 or 184. I think yeah, it's 184. Fine. So somewhere near to what we are expecting. Yeah. Okay. So this shows that the proton, the system has bromine in the para position and not the other way around. And if this was supposed to be the system and the fragmentation is occurring here, the bromine will not be a part of the M by Z value. So that means my answer has to be this one. The other NMR value, that is 200 and 198. So that will have one of the CH2 groups from here. So that means the fragmentation is occurring here. So the M by Z value will help you to figure out whether the answer is this between these two. What is the answer? So the correct answer we came out using the NMR data coupling constant M by Z value is option number 1. Okay, so the last question that we have in this video is from GATE 2016, and the reason I have picked up this question is that if you see, one of the protons has two different coupling constants, as I was previously telling you, that is also a possible case. So what are the data given in the question? They have given you NMR signals at 1.30 having a coupling constant of 7.2 Hertz. Similarly, there is another one having a coupling constant of 7.2 Hertz. Okay. So this has a 3 hydrogen triplet, this has a 2 hydrogen quartet. So that means 3 hydrogens and there is a quartet. So that means this this signal is getting splitted because of these 3 hydrogens. If you look at the other way around, this has a triplet, this has 2 hydrogens. So that means this triplet is because of these 2 hydrogens, and they are having the same coupling constant. That means this confirms the interaction between the two. So you will have a CH2 CH3 kind of a group present in your system. CH2 CH3. So if this is the case, so far all of the structures remain. Okay. Now there is given coupling constant of 7 Hertz, 7 Hertz, 7 Hertz. Now in aromatic systems, orthocoupling occurs in the range of 7 to 8 Hertz. So we can say there are 3 orthocoupling possible. It is also given coupling constant of 3 Hertz, 3 Hertz, 3 Hertz. So that means there are 3 meta couplings also possible in our system. Now let us look at the structures one by one. There is hydrogen, hydrogen, hydrogen and hydrogen here. This can have orthocoupling with this. This can have orthocoupling with this. But these two can have 2 orthocouplings. So that means there should have been 4 orthocouplings. Similarly in this structure also. But there are only 3 orthocouplings, so these 2 structures are discarded out. So I am remaining with these 2 only. Okay. Now, if you look at the values now. Okay, so orthocoupling is done. Let us look at the metacoupling now. So there are 3 metacouplings possible. Let us take this structure for example. There is a metacoupling of this proton with these 2 protons. Similarly, there is a metacoupling of this proton with these 2 protons. Similarly, there is a metacoupling of this proton with these 2 protons. Now, if you look at the splitting, it is saying doublet of triplet, and the splitting value coupling constant is given as J7.0 and 3.0. So that means the triplet is 3.0 and the doublet is 7.0. That means there are 2 metacouplings because of which there is a triplet, and there is 1 orthocoupling because of which there is a doublet. So that means in this case, if you see in this particular case, there is 2 metacoupling with these 2 and there is no orthocoupling. So that means it should have only metacoupling. That means this signal is 7.77, which has only metacoupling. Now if you take this value, it has both ortho and metacoupling. Similarly, it has both ortho and metacoupling. So that means one of them is 7.90 and 7.57. It can be the other way around also, because this has the orthocoupling with this and metacoupling with these 2. Similarly, this is orthocoupling with this and metacoupling with these 2. Okay. Now let us figure out whether the structure has to be this or this. Okay. So what all other values are given? We have been given a M by Z value of 119 having 100% peak height and 57 having 80% peak height. Okay, so 100 most of the times the 100% is the molecular ion peak. Now 119 is actually the molecular mass of this molecule, which is same for both of these. Okay, now is it, so this is 76, this is 29, this is 28, this is 15. So that would give me, this is 100, this is 95, 110, 100, 138. Okay. If I'm not wrong, it should be 138. And I'm wrong. This should be 105, 148. Okay. So the total mass of the molecule is 148. Now, the first fragmentation that will occur in mass spectroscopy will be this. In this case and this in this case, leading to the formation of C triple bond O plus and C triple bond O plus. This happens in most of the cases where carbonyl is present. So if I do a splitting at 148 here, what mass M by Z ratio value I will get? So there is 15 CH3 group is removed. This should give me 133. But in this case, there is CH2 CH3 group removed. I would get 119. There is a reduction of 29 here. There is a reduction of 15 there. So that means I would get a fragment of 119 M by Z value. So that means my answer should be option number A, not option number D. So this is how you can use M by Z value along with all other data to finalize your correct option. Okay, so this is it for this video. You can practice. There are many more questions in NET and GATE and TIFR. As many questions you can practice, it's better for you because you will come across more and more NMR values, and that will only add to the list which you've already seen previously in this video. So that's all for this video. Keep practicing as many questions as you can. If you have any doubts, if you have any queries, always post them in the comments. I will surely clear your doubts in the coming video, which your topic I'm going to explain in the next video.